Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Hayden and today I have for you my review on the Nintendo Switch 2 after owning it for almost 2 weeks. Let's talk about it. First of all, I want to talk about which Switch I previously used. I used the Switch Lite primarily. We do have an OG Switch, however my brother has it. I believe it's in Boston, so I only used it a few times. I thought it was really cool once it came out, but then I saw the Switch Lite. And I really wanted something more portable, even more than the original Switch, and that's what really drew me to the Switch Lite. So I use the Switch Lite a lot. Switch Lite is just primarily what I used. This thing doesn't have a kickstand. The Joy-Cons don't come off like the OG Switch, but this is what I pre-ordered from day one, and it's what I've been using mostly. Now, I'll be mainly comparing the Switch 2 to the Switch Lite because that's what I've been using. So first of all, Switch 2 1080p display compared to the 720p display. It's not 4K, but it still looks really, really good. The display is crisp. I don't see anything wrong. Um, Attached to our display, we do have our headphone jack, a USB-C port on top, your game card reader, plus your micro SD card reader is on the bottom. Your kickstand, your USB-C port, your volume buttons, your power button, and I believe your headphone jack. Surprisingly, the headphone jack is still on here. Not sure why. It's still on my MacBook. It's still on my Mac Mini. Why do we still have headphone jacks? I don't know, but it's whatever. The Nintendo 2 Switch size for display is 7.9 inches compared to the 5.5-inch display on my Switch Lite. When I hold this thing, it feels huge. It feels like I'm holding like a mini TV or the Steam Deck. Like when I first took this out of the box, you guys saw it for the first time. It's huge. Like it's heavy, it's big, but I've gotten used to it so far and I still think it's big. But nothing wrong with that. The weight of this thing is 330 grams compared to the 297 grams of the Switch Lite. This thing feels really light, hence Switch Lite in the name. This feels like the perfect amount of weight. Um, this thing is very heavy, but it makes sense for all the technology that's in it. But I can't hold it like this on my lap on a couch for long periods of time due to the heavy weight of it. I have to go like this and use it on my lap because my arms, it's either I'm weak or this thing is just too heavy, but my arms give out to the point where I'm like this. Now, moving on from the display, battery life seems to be a big complaint on the Switch, the original Switch Lite and the original Switch. Um, I believe you only get 6.5 hours on a full charge on this. I don't use it for that much amount of time. I use it for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. It does seem to go down a little fast, but I haven't used it battery life wise from 100% to 0% in one sitting, and I don't think I'll be doing that. But otherwise, it doesn't seem that bad, but it is a big complaint that I've seen on the OG Switch and on the Switch 2. The Joy-Cons, I do really like the sliding motion that the original OG Switch had, but the bezel on the screen on that was just too thick, hence why they probably fixed it with the OLED Switch. That Switch was probably almost near perfect if you would just look at the display wise, but the magnetic on here, very satisfying. Little trigger on the back. They did not have that on the OG Switch. Um, but that's what you use to just pop it off and seamlessly, very satisfyingly, it just snaps right back on. It is so nice and very satisfying. Nintendo did announce a new thing to the Switch 2 Joy-Cons. Now you can use them essentially as a mouse. per this particular little attachment, I don't even know if there's an official name for this, but you just, same thing, magnetic, and it just goes right on. It's got little pads that you can use it as a mouse. I don't see myself using this that often, but I did notice something that felt better. It feels weird when I just hold the Joy-Con like this, because I'm clicking the buttons and the green LED is going up and down. It feels odd to hold it like this, but if I put the little connector on, it feels more whole. It fills in those gaps that are on the edge, and it makes it feel more full in my hand, if that makes sense. There's no gaps. It feels more comfortable. They did not have this on the original Switch, which I actually really enjoy this on the Switch too. Now moving on, the original OG Switch had a kickstand on the back, but it was only this big and it only went out so far. Switch Lite does not have a kickstand, hence the portability and the lightness of it. Switch 2 does have a kickstand that is fully, basically the size of the display. And it goes very, very far. Like, I could put this thing on the desk. This is as far as it is. And it sits all the way back, just like that. This thing is very good. It does the job. However, it feels a little cheap. It's very thin plastic. I feel like this would break off really easily if you really tried to mess with it. But it's got the little empty space at the bottom of the screen, so you can just slide your finger right under seamlessly. The kickstand comes out, and you can just use it on your desk just like this. I like it. It's a little thin for me, but it does the job well. Now, one thing that I really enjoy about the Switch is it's a Switch. You can use it portably or on your TV with the dock. Now, I'm not used to that because of Switch Lite. Um, it's really cool. I can't believe somebody didn't think about this ahead of time via, with the Game Boy or like Microsoft with the Xbox or PlayStation. I mean, you see it more now because of the Steam Deck. I forget what the Microsoft one is called, but you can't use it on a TV, but you can use it portably. But Nintendo was like, we're going to make something that you can use on your TV and portably called the Switch. I forget what the project name was originally, but I did like that project name. Um, but it's really cool that you can do this kind of thing, especially like if my brother wants to use the TV, I'm outside using the TV, no problem. You can use the TV because I'm just going to walk up to my Switch, put the Joy-Cons back on, and take it and walk away. I feel like it's genius. I mean, why didn't anybody think of this ahead of time? Now, everything I've mentioned so far are the pros and just what I think about the Switch 2 overall. I have a couple cons, not a lot, but the biggest thing that bugs me is how heavy this thing is. This thing is thick and heavy. Just my complaint, just using it on my lap or just using it like this, eventually I can feel it in my wrist that it's heavy. I feel like if they just kept the OG Switch size, but they slimmed down the bezels, maybe made it a little bigger overall, that would have been better, but I like it. I still like it. It's not something that's going to make me completely change my mind and return it, but maybe a little smaller, a little lighter would be nice, but maybe they'll think about that in the next one. Um, the mouse option, not something I would use unless you're using a certain game that would use the little connector things here, where you just slap on the Joy-Con, you use it as a mouse. Cool idea, good feature, not something I would use. I thought when I first opened this also, micro SD card. I thought I could just take out my micro SD card, 256 gigabyte SD card from here, move it to my Switch 2. You can't do that. Not a surprise because, everything is different these days. You buy something new, you gotta buy a battery with it. You gotta buy the new battery. You gotta buy the new thing that's compatible with it. I don't have a ton of games on here. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but if I eventually do have to get an SD card, it's fine. But that's really it. I mean, I love the Switch 2. One thing more I'd just like to mention, if you are in the market for a Switch 2 or thinking about buying a Switch 2, now is the time. Between now and September 1st, Nintendo is raising the price from $450 to $500. Not sure why, but if you're thinking about buying a Switch 2, now might be the time. I see them on eBay. I see them on Marketplace often. They're actually going for under $400, maybe even under 300 if you find a good deal. But if you want a brand new one, price is going up. Now might be the time to buy. But those are my thoughts overall on the Nintendo Switch 2. I love it. Great console. A little beefy, just a little heavy. But otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.